Welcome to Really Raha, the podcast for women who know they're way too powerful to be stuck in a 9-to-5. I'm Rahaf, multi-six-figure high-ticket sales coach, PhD student in global leadership and change, and sponsored skateboarder. I went from serving tables and chasing tips to mastering high-ticket sales and building income streams that don't require me to trade hours for dollars. Here we talk about the real path into remote sales, landing aligned offers, closing with confidence, regulating your nervous system under pressure, and building a skill set that pays you from anywhere. This isn't bro sales. This is psychology, power, and feminine precision. If you're here, it's because you feel it. Freedom isn't optional for you. It's inevitable. Let's get into it. Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Really Raha podcast. I have my special guest here with me again. If you've been on the other episodes with Mike, you may or may not know this, but Mike is my partner. I'm so grateful and so lucky to have him in my business, have him in Revenue Room. And he is going to share his journey with us today about how he went from working in a 9-to-5 to being fully in DM setting, making commissions, and in high ticket sales. So we're going to walk through that entire timeline.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me. Super grateful, and just for you and for this podcast and for Revenue Room and everything. So thank you in many ways.
Oh my gosh. And the fact that you were able to leap from your 9-to-5 and into high ticket sales. I mean, I want to take some time and really talk about that journey. So walk us through how you went through that. Let's first talk about the mindset, right? The foundation of what it felt like leaping from the 9-to-5 structure, going to betting on yourself, from relying on someone else, writing your W-2, writing your paycheck, and now fully being in you. Can we talk about the mindset work on what you did to shift into that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure we can talk about it. And where do I begin? It was a lot of changes for sure. I had to completely uproot who I was. I'm basically a completely different person now in the best way. I had to uproot my belief system, and everything stemmed from that. I mean, all of my decisions came from that. I just was taught this very basically blue pill belief system of like, get your safe job, go to college, and just kind of, your job is everything. I remember that's something my dad said at one point. He's like, that job is everything? And I remember being like, what? Like, it's just a job. And it was cool. It served me for a long time, and I'm super grateful for it, and the people are awesome. But I was never really thriving. And, long story short, one day the company folded. I got news that things weren't so good, and they basically politely let me know that the whole company's going to be going away. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall because a lot of people had left and been let go. I lasted quite a bit longer. I'm very grateful for that than most people did. But ultimately, this quote unquote safe job just sort of vanished on me. And it was, how do I even word this? Because at this point, I was pretty, I'll say, in the like world of business and stuff like that. I already had an investment property, and I was very much into like investing in myself. But like, it's just proof that just goes to show that if you bank on someone else to take care of you, then you're kind of screwed, because it's nobody else's responsibility to keep you employed, to give you any sort of retirement plan, or to make sure you're good. It's up to us. And so basically it came to a point where I realized I'm not like really in control. I'm just hoping this job lasts forever. And hoping is a great word, because it's just wasn't even something that I felt super lit up about. It was just enough. And like, I wasn't thriving. I was just kind of holding on as long as I could. And I just felt like that was the only way. I felt that was reality, right? That was kind of what I was taught. Like, oh, this is reality, right? You got to just get some job out of college I applied through like the career center in my college, and I like did an interview, and I sent in my resume, and like, the whole thing, right? And I had to uproot that like the job was everything, and that my everything depended on that job, because it doesn't. Like, ultimately it depends on me. And so when I started to realize that like I should be betting on myself versus betting on some other employer that most employers see you as a number, right? I was sort of fortunate that this was a small company and it was like family and they were awesome people. But for most people, it's actually worse, where you're just some random number. You don't even know the C-level people, and you're just disposable. So I started betting on myself in small ways. First, I started buying little stocks and stuff like that. I eventually bought an investment property, and I was very much used to betting on myself. And then I eventually, when I caught wind that the company was going to be going away, I got into high ticket sales, and I hired my first sales trainer. And it was a big chunk of change for me at the time. And I put it on a credit card because I didn't have enough cash. And I remember just being so, like, I felt like this is the beginning of the new me, because I'm now betting on myself. I'm not betting on an employer to hold my hand through life, because they don't have to, and they're not going to. And so I just was like, nope, I need to build my own future, and I need to build my own retirement, and I need to build my own career, my own income, and take control of things myself, because it's nobody else's responsibility to do that for me. So hopefully that answers your question.
So good. And just so much power in what you said, with not having to rely on anybody for anything. It's like, why we think that, oh, we're good. Like, we have so much trust in the system, when really all it takes is one decision for them to be like, oh, we're letting you go. And I brought this up on another episode recently, and just to bring it up because it's so relevant right now, Oracle, the company, recently laid off 30,000 employees through a single email. And they had
Exactly.
just had their highest revenue quarter, but they replaced 30,000 people with AI. And first of all, it's really cool that high ticket sales can't be replaced with AI. But second of all, we put so much trust in the people writing our paychecks, and we think that we have the safe job until we wake up and we're like, wait, this isn't actually safe. We just
Exactly.
need to learn how to bet on ourselves. So you got in the mindset, you did the mindset work, you got the training, and then walk us through how you landed your first role.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So yeah, so I got the training, I did the mindset work, and not that the mindset work ever ends, right? It's not like I did one thing and all of a sudden, and everything's perfect, right? It it's a never-ending journey, of course, right? But I did the foundational rewiring, and it set me up so that now I'm in control. And I would have never been in this position had I not done that. So it starts with that for sure. And so how I landed my first role. So, well, when I was still working at this job, and things were winding down, I signed up for a high ticket sales training, and I started doing the training. I remember it took about, I think it was 4 months, and it felt like forever at the time, because I was like, shoot, I really need this. I need to get started now. I need to start making money now. But I had been doing a lot of research and thinking about what I'm doing next. I had to rethink my whole life. So I got to the end of the training, and there was a few different ways I could land a role, but the way I got my first role, the thing that happened to hit, because I was trying a lot of things, is I just DM'd a real estate mentor, and with text. I didn't even send a video. I just sent him like a few sentences as to why I wanted to work with him and why I thought I'd be a good fit. I essentially sold myself, and I got a response. And I did an interview, and I told him about me, and I told him that I had done my training, and he really liked that, by the way, because he's like, I'm a big fan of mentorship, because he's selling a mentorship, and he's like, you have to believe in mentorship if you're going to sell anything, right? Because if you don't like invest in yourself, how are you going to convince other people to do that? He's like, that's huge. And he was he not only was selling mentorship, but we call him the most closable dude, because he had closed on so many different training programs, just learning this and that. He called it skipping the line. He just loves skipping lines. Like, why do I need to figure this out the hard way, learn all this stuff on my own, when I can just find someone who knows exactly what to do, skip all that time and just pay a little bit, because the money comes back when you do that. And so nothing in life is free, right? You want to pay with your time or your money. So he's like, I'd rather just skip the line. And I'm glad you understand that. And this guy was 29 years old, and he had 70 properties. And I'm like, this guy is moving fast. And I'm like, whatever you're doing, I need to learn a thing or two, because I don't know how the heck you're moving that fast, but he's skipping the line. Anyway, so I landed this role, and I started with DM setting, and
But you know, it's interesting. You trained to close. Is that right?
well, that's interesting. Yeah. So I trained, when I trained, I didn't really know if I wanted to be a setter or a closer. I knew both existed. I initially thought, oh, I want to be a closer because I just wanted to make the most money possible, right? But I was open though. I was like, I just want to do whatever's aligned, basically. Wherever I am is fine, and I want to find. It was the most important thing to me was to find a role that was aligned because you could sell a lot of different things, right? You could sell anything under the sun, right? Solar panels, insurance. You could sell this, that, and I was really passionate about a few things. For me, it was real estate investing, any sort of like life coaching, or anything that really empowers someone to like be a better them and help them move into a better mindset and financial freedom and that kind of thing was up my alley. So I was like, anything within that realm, it could be a real estate offer, it could be a life coaching offer, it could be high
Yep.
ticket sales, whatever, it just, but as long as it's in that realm,
Yes. And I love
that's all I
that you
really care
started
about.
there.
Yeah.
I love that you started there because this is what you and I help the girls in Revenue Room with is start with your values,
Yes,
then find the
exactly.
role. Because we didn't leave one 9 to 5 dreading work to go into a different industry to have the same mindset around it. So what we do in Revenue Room is we help them start with their values, set up their dream career profile so that when they are outreaching, they're actually landing aligned roles and they wake up lit up, excited to sell their offer.
Yeah, I mean, because I didn't leave this other job to like find something else that's okay. Like I want to go to something better, right? And so if I'm leaving something that's okay or good enough, well, my next step, I want it to be great. So I had to do some inner work, and luckily the training program helped me with that because I probably wouldn't be able to do it on my own. But we did some values exercises and just kind of looked inward to say, okay, what do I even want next? And then basically reverse engineered it to manifest it, and I ended up finding, like I said, the real estate offer, and it was pretty close to perfect. I mean, for what I was looking for at the time. I mean, I had like a bit of a range, like was saying. I want something roughly in this realm of either financial freedom or some sort of life coaching or some sort of personal development or something like that. And I want it to be something that I can handle right now because I technically don't have a ton of sales experience. And so whatever. So I ended up getting a DM setting role. I actually, when I first talked to him, I was like, I wanted a closing role, but he's like, well, honestly, I'm looking for a setter right now. I'm looking for a DM setter. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm interested. Why not? Because the role felt so aligned that within that, I was like, well, setter, closer, whatever, just start somewhere, right? Because I figured, well, I could always do this for a year or two and then move on to something else. Or maybe I could grow within this because if I'm a setter for a while, maybe after a while we'll need a closer and I could become a closer then. So either way, I'm moving forward. So I think it was important to know what I want, but still be somewhat open-minded because if I was too like, oh, I need this exact thing and it has to be a closing role and it has to be boom, 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 then you basically get stuck that way. And so, being open enough, but clear enough though, if you're just like, I'll take anything under the sun, well, then you're gonna end up on something random you don't like. So I had to be the sweet spot of know what I want, but be open enough to actually be able to find something in a reasonable amount of time. And it worked. And I was only there for about a year and change before I hopped over to you. And pretty much exactly what I just said is I got there and things were working pretty good. I think I generated about 870 grand in revenue on that role in a
Wow.
little over a year. And then this came, the opportunity to work with you came about. And that was not my
I
first.
snatched you up. I snatched you up.
Exactly. So
because
Rahaf
because
made me an offer. And why did you do that?
exactly. I made you an offer because you now have experience on another role and you've generated all this amount in revenue. You've become an asset. So I snatched you up because you had the skill set that I needed. I brought you in. We found deeper alignment.
Yep. And I had the
We
proof. Like I had already done this for a little over a year and generated so much that you're like, this is clearly working, whatever you're doing. And so there's no question. And so I got an even better role with Rahaf because I just started somewhere, basically. And I remember when I left, it was kind of sad because technically there was nothing wrong. I could have stayed at the other role. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna quit. And of course we left on good terms and everything. I put in my 2 weeks, everything's fine. But it was this weird thing where it's like, but everything's going great. Like, why are you leaving? And I'm
wait,
like,
Can we
because I
back
got
up?
something even better.
Can we
Go
can we
ahead.
back up because that it didn't take him by surprise that you did that, right?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because that's funny because when I first started, you mentioned you were like in the
I
very
was
early stages.
yeah, I was life coaching. So it was like at the end of life coaching.
Okay, yeah. So, but you were doing revenue room at the time, and I didn't necessarily see myself working with you. Like, I just figured, okay, you're doing your thing, whatever. And so
Right.
I remember when I first interviewed, he's like, "Yeah, are you gonna like eventually want to like set for her like what she's building?" I was like, "I don't think so. Like, I think she's going a different direction." And then I fast forward a
He
year,
saw it.
he saw it. I didn't even see it, to be honest with you, and I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay." But I started somewhere, and then because I started somewhere, like I got the training, and no, let me back up. I decided to bet on myself, and because I decided to bet on myself, I got the training. Once I got the training, that allowed me to land my first role that was way more aligned than my 9 to 5. My first high ticket sales role as the DM setter for the real estate offer, and it was really good, and I was stoked, and it was going really well. And then an even better opportunity came, better everything, more money, work with you, more aligned, everything, right? Built together. And but it all started from me betting on myself. And it just kept getting better and better and better and better. And now it's getting even better. It's honestly getting surreal. And it's funny too, because when you made me this offer, out of left field, I got a DM from another real estate coach that, hey, we're looking for setters. And he had a very, very similar offer. It was a real estate offer. But then this came about, and I ended up doing this because it's you, of course. But like just because I was growing and betting on myself and just gaining all this momentum, just stuff comes out of the woodwork. And I didn't even
Yes.
it was crazy. I'm like, this is a really good offer that I'm not going with.
Yes, yes. Then you took the 870K that you generated in sets from the other offer,
Yep.
blew through 1 million.
Yes.
Then we created the
Yep.
Sprout framework. So can you talk
Yes.
about what you poured into and how we've implemented that in Revenue Room and how we're teaching setting from all of that?
Yeah, totally. So we took what I had learned over the course of that, year and change or whatever, and basically we took the $1 million formula and we turned it into a framework. Like you said, it's called the Sprout framework, and it's not a script because at the time when I started, I was using scripts, but it was never quite right. I was like, this script kind of sort of works, but not really. And basically, I threw the whole script away, and I was just going from my brain because you can't really follow a script because every conversation is different, every person's different. It kind of doesn't work. So you and I invented a framework called the Sprout framework, and we laid it out visually so you could follow it like a map. And so now we have it all laid out basically in writing, and so you can just anyone can follow this. We've trained a bunch of people already to follow it, and they're making commissions already, and just it's anybody can learn it really. But now it's like simple though because we like laid it out on paper or digitally at least, so
I think that's the biggest thing is so many sales programs focus on scripts and it doesn't really work. Maybe it used to work back in the day, but we are so in a place of trust. So if we're just cooking the prospect with questions in the DMs, you're not going to get the set. So what we did was bring checkpoints into it. Did I get this checkpoint? Did I get this checkpoint? Did I get it? Did I go enough of a layer deep? Oh, not yet. Let's ask a mirror question. So being able to put all of that you had in your brain on the Miro, the framework that we created, and then also have another one, the Radiance framework for sales calls, and then built Revenue Room together to do that. And now there's women in there training to be setters and closers. It is. I mean, I think about it someday. I'm like, this is fucking surreal.
it
It's
really is.
honestly nuts.
I mean, just an hour ago, I sat down, I sent one DM. I said like this, like it gets crazy because I come home, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit the DMs for a bit. I send one DM, the inbox is full, right? The person responds immediately and starts chatting, and I'm like, oh, I got someone hot live right now. Okay, so I'm chatting, it's a good prospect, and I didn't even have enough time to answer the next person because she responded so fast. And we had built up so much trust earlier in the convo from my last DM session that she just was like, oh my God, I got your attention. I need to talk to you
Yep.
right now. And apparently dropped everything. And about 15 or so minutes later, got the booking. And I literally sent one message. And this person, because like this framework, like I feel like I have it so dialed now.
Yeah.
We have it so laid out and dialed that it's like,
Yeah. It's a
imagine sending one
well-oiled
message and 15
machine.
minutes later, someone's on your calendar. Like,
And I think the best part is the amount of entry points that our DM framework has is we turn complete strangers that don't even know that I exist and whoever is using our framework, like our like the woman in our group, to go from not even knowing that the offer owner exists to getting on a call, going through a 2-call close, and then being so committed and driven and fired up in the training program or whatever offer. That's all a result of holding authority, holding frame, bringing in the leadership abilities, all within the framework.
It is. And to be able to build that much trust and authority and close someone who 3 days ago never even knew you existed is honestly nuts. And that's how powerful this stuff is. Like the amount of trust that we can build in 3 days and teach people to do the exact same thing, it's kind of surreal. I'm like, if you had told me like a few years ago, like, oh yeah, like you could sell high ticket offers to people who had never heard about you 3 days ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. And it's working like clockwork. I can't believe it. And no ad spend either.
$0 in ad spend. So
Yeah.
not only is this super valuable for training setters and like learning how to set, but offer owners, coaches that are
Yep.
struggling with finding ways to find leads. They're like, I don't have leads. I don't have leads. It's like, you just don't know how to create the leads. And that's what this framework does. It makes money appear out of nowhere. And it's
Nowhere.
the most high quality prospects. We never had this luck with ads. We went up to spending about $6,000 in ads a month. And then we stopped it. We're like,
Yeah.
it's not even doing what we want. And maybe we'll come back to ads later, but we don't need to. Like, we are
No.
all fully organic and outreach, and it's creating the most heartfelt, divine connection conversations because sales is giving. And when
It
you can
is.
build that trust in the DMs and transition that congruency through the call, set up the closer for success, set up the offer owner fulfillment for success, that's a well-oiled machine. That's how you scale to 1 million. And that's what we're doing right now. We're
We are
scaling really Rahoff to 1 million. And
we are blazing there.
right. And
And
here we're over here doing a podcast episode. I'm in one room, you're in another room. We're spending our days skateboarding. We're going to the farmer's market and shopping for all of our ingredients. And this is real alignment. And it starts with the work that you do and the offers that you sell is when you're aligned in your day-to-day. You wake up radiating. You wake up excited to start the day. Then you live the life of your dreams. Everything just starts aligning like puzzle pieces.
it does. And it's just such a trip to think about because we are blazing to 1 million. And it's just me, you, 2 frameworks, a setting framework and a closing framework, and like a spreadsheet to track it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the entire machine.
Yep. And we give all of that to our women in revenue room.
Yep. We give them both frameworks and the spreadsheet.
And the
Exactly.
spreadsheet that you made. So the
Yep.
spreadsheet reverses engineers the amount of commissions that somebody wants to make per month down to the amount of messages that you need to send to make that happen. The
Yep.
level of granularity, of predictability that makes it inevitable. So it's not even about sales being emotional anymore.
Oh, it's just numbers. You just go, oh, I want to make this much. Okay, I send this many messages. I follow these 2 frameworks. And law of averages says it works. And it's working like clockwork. So
And then they're coming to the calls and they're like, okay, what objections am I getting? Okay, where did I leave this person? Like, where did I leave off? Then you work on the leaks and then
Yeah.
you leverage your skill set. You make more money because you can do that in the red pill world. It's not like you're capped at an hour
Yes.
trading your time for money. You're constantly leveraging your skill set. You're constantly staying plugged in. And then from there, that's how you scale your income. That's how these girls are all on Instagram making 20K, 30K, 50K a month is through this.
Yeah, they're in control. They're not like betting, like before I was just betting on an employer and I was kind of scraping by with a bunch of roommates and super cheap rent. And I was shopping at the cheap grocery store and just living on the cheap, right? Driving an old car. And it was enough to live like that. But ultimately, like you don't want to live like that forever. And there was no other way I could make more money unless I picked up like another job or something or started a side hustle. But now with this, we could just make more if we just get better. And we just, like you said, look at the spreadsheet, go, oh, there's a leak in the boat here. How do we plug it? And then we get creative. We go, oh, we need to fix this. We need to fix that. And then boom, all of a sudden the machine's more efficient and we can get a higher return on our time, which you can't do at a job. You just you get better. And if you're lucky, you get a raise at the end of the year, 3%.
Yeah.
But if you're not lucky, you get let go. So there's like a lot more risk in betting on someone else than there is in like, the quote unquote risk of like having a commission like
Yeah.
sales job, for example, right? And
Yeah.
so
At the end of the day, it's like, it's all risky,
it's
right,
all
Jim
risky,
Rohn?
right?
It's all
Yep,
risky, but what's riskier? You continuing to do things the same way that you are, watching time go by, not being able to spend it with your kids, not being able to spend it doing what you love, barely making ends meet, definitely don't have enough money to get back to your family? Or is it riskier to just take that bet on yourself, learn a skill set that you see people getting success with, and then everything unfolds? What risk would you rather take?
yeah. I
To
mean, I'd
me,
rather bet on
I don't want,
myself and know. I'd rather it not work out, but now I know. you know,
you
personally,
know, the women that get on the calls with me, the one thing they tell me, they're like, "I just know I don't want to be 80 years old reflecting back on my life and wishing that I did something about it and that I
exactly.
didn't."
Because
That's risky.
if you bet on yourself and something doesn't work, well, you just try the next thing, And so it's part of like like you just gotta. Everyone's scared of the unknown, right? Oh my god, what if this happens? What if that happens? But it's like just plunging into the unknown. It it's just that's where the growth is, And so just
Yeah.
and that's why we say bet on yourself because life is a game of betting, right? And if you're not betting on yourself, you're betting on someone else. And who's to
Yeah.
say they have it more together than you? They probably don't.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they're probably not even going in the direction you want to go because they're not you. There's another Jim Rohn quote,
Exactly.
and he says, "If you don't have your own plan, you will become part of someone else's plan. And guess what? Someone else
Mm,
probably has planned for you. Not much. That is true.
mm,
So you got to have your own plan. So I would rather bet on my plan than bet on someone else's
yes.
plan when they don't have anything planned for me in the first place.
That's what freedom is. That's the price of freedom. And it's not really a price because that is the ultimate fulfillment of being so in control of your life that you can bet on yourself because you got yourself there and you don't have to rely on anyone else for your happiness and to
Yeah.
be able to put food on the table and to be able to travel and live your life.
And the craziest and most beautiful part of this whole thing is to be able to change your whole life and to bet on yourself is literally one decision. You just decide
Mm,
right now, I'm betting on myself. And that philosophy sets the sail for a whole new life. That's exactly what I did is I made that decision and everything changed. And
oh,
it didn't manifest overnight, but it set
yeah,
the sail. And little by little,
yes.
like I said, with the mindset, everything changed little by little. And fast forward a few years, and I'm a completely different person in the best way. And I'm just way more in control. And I have time working for me now versus time working against me. And
Yeah,
it's just, I am so happy because
yeah.
I just, it's hard to put in words, honestly.
There are no words. I mean,
Yeah.
just look at what it's been able to do for us of being able to really learn sales. For those of you who don't know, Mike and I met in Los Angeles. We've been dating for 5 years, and when he came into my business and we started scaling it and growing it, we just moved to Carlsbad in North Coast San Diego at the beginning of this year, and now we live in this incredible big condo that has a view of the golf course, and you can just hear birds chirping. Like, it's so quiet. It's a different time dimension. And there's so much time in our day, regardless of how many calls we have, how many DMs we have, time just operates differently when you're in alignment. And we
It
get to
does.
enjoy that together.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I mean, just to give everyone perspective here, like at the time when I was working that other job, like I was living in a whatever neighborhood with a bunch of roommates, just had my own room, shopping at like Food for Less, for those of you that know that store that live in California, which is like the cheap grocery store, just driving a car with like 250,000 miles and just getting by. And now we live on a golf course and freaking perfect weather every day. And like I said, I sent one message and booked a call, and we shop at the farmer's market only. We don't even go to the grocery store anymore. And I had just gotten back from skating. I was at the Olympic training facility practicing, and I come back,
Tonight.
yeah, today. And I sent a DM, and I got a booking, and I'm like, sweet. That was easy because I just know exactly what to say. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's not a bad life.
there's no throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's like there's a tried and true framework that has seen inevitable success, and now it's just repeatable, rinse and repeat, and
repeatable.
also customizable to who you're speaking to. And let's fast forward to present time and what's coming up for us in the future, because this is exciting. Because Revenue Room is growing so fast. Like, we're averaging 2 new women a week now,
Yeah, that's
all
crazy to think
through the
about.
DM setting, all through the closing, all through, it's like a dream within a dream. All through the things that we're teaching is what they're getting inside. Like, it's
Yeah,
honestly nuts.
it's
And there's
crazy.
12 women inside right now. And Mike is also in there. I'm in there. I teach the sales call framework, the radius framework, strategy call, and so on. Mike specializes, his zone of genius, as you've heard, is DM setting. So he teaches DM mastery in there. And we're actually, Mike and I, we're building our sales team right now, and
Yeah.
we're going to bring on a DM setter that Mike is going to train. And it's like, I remember us saying, this is nuts. This is nuts. We said 2 months ago, Mike, we said, okay, we'll be ready to bring on a DM setter when we hit 50K in monthly revenue. And we're barely over halfway in April.
We are
We're
on
already at
track.
30K in revenue, and we are on track to hit 50K in April. And that's just in time, because you and I, we've got our eyes on someone. We know who we
Yeah.
want to bring in, and she's been manifesting it, and I could feel her manifesting it. And we're going to connect with her, and we're going to see what we can do. And we're just building our team now. And it's so cool too, because we hire internally, because guess
Yep.
what? The women inside Revenue Room are learning Sprout. They're learning Radiance, and that's who I want selling my stuff for me.
Yep.
So they have the opportunity to train under us, and then have the option, if there's spots, to come onto our sales team, or there's a job board in there with setters and closers, and we get to teach them how
Yeah.
to outreach their dream offers, which is
Yep.
exactly how you landed your first role. I mean,
Yeah.
it's honest nuts.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I first signed up for like a sales training program, I remember I was so like hung up on the guarantee of like the job. I was like, okay, like, well, am I guaranteed a job, like this and that? And I would use words like job at the time. Words like job and guarantee are not really words I use anymore now that I've reframed my belief system. But at the time, I was big on those words, right? And so I was like super tripped up on that. And it's so funny because the sales program I ended up joining offered placement, and that was a big selling point for me at the time. And I I didn't even end up using the placement, because they offered
Mhm.
me an opportunity, but I found better opportunities myself through outreach, which a few months prior I had thought, oh, the outreach will never work because I didn't have sales experience, and I was kind of like, outreach, like. But I didn't know anything about sales. I had all the sales limiting beliefs that anyone could ever have, right? And so I I ended up thinking I wanted the certainty of a guaranteed placement, and not even using that. I ended up getting an offer. Like, I said no to the offer they gave me. I was like, nope, I found my own. It's better because I picked it, and I was so happy with it. And then I found an even better offer, like I said, with you, and that was after I had said no to an offer that I didn't even try for. And so just the amount of things that snowballed
Yeah.
is just nuts, honestly. And by the way,
Yeah.
these skills that I've learned are like not just strictly for like sales, right? They're not just for like these apply to life, because
Yeah.
sales is so much more than sales. It applies
Yeah.
to life. I mean, just the way you meet people, and to relationships, and to just everything, any interaction you have with another human.
Yeah.
There's a form of sales, and it's just a trip how powerful it is, because I was at one point allergic to sales because I just didn't know anything about it. And I was like, sales is
Yeah.
bad, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, sales is there whether you like it or not. And so I just finally realized I should learn to like this, because if I don't, I'm just fighting the universe for no reason.
Yeah, when sales is giving, and
It
you
is
learning that
giving.
skill set, it's like, it's sales is communication. And, I love that you said, so many different parts of your life started change, because not only is that what I hear every day from the women inside Revenue Room, but also in my own life, of like, your communication skills with people in your life, like my communication with my family just enhanced, with myself, with skateboarding, like even you, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Mike is like Olympic level athlete in skateboarding. He trains at an Olympic facility, which is right around the corner, which is really cool. And he's able to have like conversations and sell, like outreach and sell himself, because when you land a role, you're selling yourself. And to sell
Yeah.
yourself, you need to know, how can I position myself as an asset? So It's just the byproduct of learning sales and understanding human behavior and sales psychology is beyond anything fathomable from what you could possibly imagine in this moment right now.
Yeah, it's way beyond the role or the job, right? It's way beyond the offer you're selling for. That's just the tangible thing that you learn it for, right? But it translates so much further to an athlete
Yeah,
for
'cause
sure. You know, you got to sell yourself as an athlete,
yeah,
right? To in a relationship, you got to sell yourself to another person, right? To your family, you
yeah.
got to have good communication skills to prevent drama, right? So,
So funny. You know what I'm thinking about right now is like people ask me like, how do you do it? How do you like work with your partner? You live together, you skate together, you see each other all the time. Like how are you able to do that? And low key, I'm thinking about it right now. I think it's because we both understand sales.
there you
We
go.
understand sales, we understand how to communicate, we understand how to ask the right questions. And then
Exactly.
also teaching it really doubles down on that too. So it's just honestly surreal. And
Yeah.
to just be in a room like this, that it gets to be as easy as that. Is like women just need to have a room like this where they're just lit up and believing in themselves and on the right frequency. So it's so beautiful. And Mike runs the DM call as well and the data call. And when things just become predictable, then you can just enjoy your life. You can just take that dance class you've always wanted to take. You can just wake up in the morning and have that 2 hour morning. You can just not have to rush on your phone first thing in the morning, and you can move slow. You can move like in that divine feminine energy that you were meant to live. You weren't meant to be stuffed in a box of a 9 to 5. That is a masculine structure that does not work with women. So when you get in high ticket sales, you learn how to operate as a woman again. And we teach a very intuitive framework too. It's all about intuition. Did I go deep enough? Did I get this checkpoint? You come back home to yourself. And I think that's the biggest gift in understanding sales.
Yeah, it is. And something you said a minute ago that I wanted to echo or go a little bit deeper on is you mentioned just having that community, right? Because especially when I first started, I was very much raised on like say the blue pill belief system, right? And just get your quote unquote safe job and go to college and job is everything and that sort of way of thinking where you're just banking on someone else, banking on hopefully getting a pension and that kind of thing. And when you have, because you don't decide what environment you're in when you're born, you just get dealt a hand of cards, so to speak. And chances are you're not going to get a royal flush unless you're lucky, but most of us aren't, right? And so when you just get dealt something random, there's a good chance it's not going to be your dream. And so to be able to pick your environment where there are empowering belief systems and where people are going for it and where people are striving for more and believe they can and are aligned with their values and working towards it, it is a whole different energy because if you are around the same people that got you to where you are, well, that was enough to get you here. Well, how do you get to the next level? Is you have to change, you got to change the belief system, which is only going to change if you change your environment. And the beautiful thing about having like a community in a room like this is you pick it and you can decide what you want. You can be in this energy and it's your new baseline because you have people supporting you. You have people on the same journey and you have coaches that are helping you where you fall short because we all have our ups and our downs, right? And so to be able to be surrounded by that is so powerful because if you're not and you just like watch a couple of videos and go, yeah, I'm motivated for like an hour and then like someone comes home and it's like the old belief system that got us stuck and you just go back into that, it's like you just get stuck again. And so to be able to have that room is just so powerful.
Yep. Because when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows and not the flower.
Exactly. So many of us are like, oh, it must be the flower. Nope. Need different
Yep.
soil.
And you and I both did that
Yes,
before
we
we
did.
even met. I mean, I lived in Ohio, Mike lived in Chicago, and we changed our environment. Both came out to California and knew that this is where we would thrive. This is where we would just send it and have that raging energy. And then it's
Exactly.
no surprise that we met each other and we're just raging together all the time now and
Exactly.
having a community. And I think too, I think you nailed it too, because getting in high ticket sales, your physical environment is going to call you crazy. They're
Yep.
the 9 to 5 mindset, 9 to 5 belief system. They're gonna say it's a scam. They're gonna say it's not safe. They're gonna say everything that
Right.
is I mean, they don't have the mindset.
Yeah, they don't
Because
get it.
that's they don't get it, and that's okay. We're not here
It's
to
okay.
convince anybody, but we just need to surround ourselves with people who do get it, who are living the life that we want.
Yeah, we're here to
And
pick
when
our
you do that,
environment.
yeah, because you
Yep.
have the power. I mean, it's
You have the power.
2026. It's not even about, oh, you're not even in the right physical place, you're living in the wrong city. Okay, well, we have the privilege to have virtual rooms now.
Yes,
Like, this
remote
is all
sales.
happening on Zoom. You get
Yeah.
to pick up your laptop, go wherever you need, take your training calls wherever because you have a virtual room that's plugged into the frequency. Then you go take a closing call in freaking Switzerland, come back, take another call in Florida because you can.
I've done that. I've
you
I've
you
sat from
said
Florida and Switzerland, actually.
you sat someone on the plane
I've done that
while
too.
you were in the air.
I've done that a few times. I've sent people in Tokyo, Dubai.
And it's just like you start to play the game with life. Right? It's like you just learn how to play. It's like you think of the game Monopoly. It's like you're playing a game. It's like when you
Game.
think about like money is just a game. Money is not real.
It
But
is.
when you get out of your own way and you see money is just energy and you get to be creative with debt, you get to buy yourself time so that you can have freedom, everything unlocks for you.
It unlocks. And when I started, I remember how I said earlier, it's just a decision. Like, I didn't have the money. I just made a decision.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I don't have enough money, but I've already made the decision. So how can I make this work? And I was like, oh, I've got
how can
credit.
I make this work?
How can I make it work? Well, I've got credit. So I literally opened up a credit card and I put it on a credit card. And I was like, well, it's a 0% interest card. And I have a year to pay this off. And the program's 4 months. So I'm no mathematician, but that should be enough time to pay this off. And to make a long story short, I paid it off with flying colors. And by the way, that strategy has become super useful in my life of just being like, how can I? And just finding a way because, you know, especially being in a country like this, like you can get freaking credit cards so easily. Like it's almost laughable. It's like, oh, I can make things happen with money I don't have. And then, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be two type of people in that situation. They see a training program, they see the investment, and the first person says, I can't, so I won't.
Yeah,
and the second
I used to be that person.
Yeah, because that was the mindset of the 9 to 5 is you look at the physical number in your bank account. You're so pulled into that.
You're so stuck on like guarantees and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second person is like, okay, I don't have the money, technically, but how can I?
Can I? And it could be the same person. You just change your mind. You just make that decision. That's it.
It's a simple decision that opens up more opportunities so you don't have doors closed in your face. All of the doors just suddenly open.
Yep. And nothing in the actual rest of the world changed. I just changed. That's it.
Yeah. And the irony is that is exact mindset and the exact moment that is almost like Morpheus, like, all right, here's the blue pill, here's the red pill. Which one are you going to take? Because that's the mindset you need when you come into high ticket sales. High ticket sales, yeah, there's a learning curve. It's like school, you got to learn, but you learn this one skill set and you are set for the rest of your life. But it's going to take ups and downs that channel that resourcefulness of how can I? So when you pass that first test to invest in that program, when you did that set you up for success later because now you've become the person you need to be there during the ups and downs.
Exactly. And it never it didn't happen overnight, right? I didn't just suddenly, tomorrow freaking balling or something. Like it took work and I had to learn stuff and there's ups and there's downs for sure. But especially at first.
To this day.
One thing that's crazy about this whole situation is ever since I did that, I just remember that, like I said, that one quote where my dad is like, that job is everything. I remember that. And I'm like, no, the job is not everything. And as soon as I bet on myself, I was never, ever worried about a job ever again. I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about it because I'm in control. If anything ever happens with this role, which it's not because I'm the reason why they're making a ton of money, but even if something were to happen, I'll just take these skills elsewhere. It's a no-brainer. Like people are offering me, oh, can you help me? Because my business needs what you have. Like it's just stuff's flowing in now. So it's literally never a problem ever again.
Yes, especially because the coaching service industry is just constantly booming now
Yeah,
because it's a
exactly.
recession-proof industry. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be a need for closers. In fact, I have offer owners that I connect with. They're like, hey, we need like 1,000 reps a month. Like, get some girls trained, send them over. They need people. There are coaches and influencers that need setters in their DMs, booking the calls. They need closers, taking the calls off their calendar. So, and it's unaffected by the economy. Like,
Yeah.
there could be a complete recession happening in the economy and high ticket sales is just thriving
I mean,
because the clientele of high ticket sales are not affected by the economy because they understand the value of investing. They will keep investing in themselves and there will always be a role for a rep.
yeah, and not to mention, I mean, sales has been a thing since the beginning of time, right? Way before the internet, way before any jobs or whatever were remote. And so sales has always been and always will be a thing. And so this is just like the modern day version of it, basically. And so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep booming.
It
So,
is. And there's new coaches every day popping up with offers. And so, yeah, I mean,
yeah. And especially the coaches running ads. If they're running ads, they're blowing up. They need help. So it's like invest in yourself, get the training, and then make that decision and
decide.
leave that 9 to 5 structure and
Yeah.
just finally like use us as evidence. We're not anyone special. I'm not anyone special. I'm just a girl from Ohio. Mike's
I'm
just a
just a
guy from
kid from
Chicago.
Chicago.
And we just decided to make a decision to learn the skill set, and now we just get to just be raging all the time and just celebrating wins every time I open up my phone, and these girls are just like, they're making commissions while they're training. Like, while they're training in Revenue Room right now, because only our girls have this opportunity in Revenue Room where they can get referral commissions for bringing girls in, and I've given out thousands. Like, they're just a couple weeks in, and they're making $500, $500, $500. Like, they're getting their ROI back, and they're on the front lines and practicing sales. Like, how many programs let you make money while you're training?
I didn't make any money when I was training. So that would have been, I would have been stoked on that for sure.
It's
So
just nice too because you can make a whole full-time role out of just affiliate commissions. So
you
to
could
be
if you
able to like,
wanted. Yeah.
if you wanted, yeah. But to
Yeah.
be able to like just have that certainty of like, okay, now I can start betting on myself and making money and learning the skill set and land a role. It's just dreams within dreams within dreams, wins within wins within wins. So imagine like that's the baseline frequency. But
Yeah.
Mike,
I
I feel
trip
like
out
we
all the
could
time.
talk.
Yeah. We probably could, but
I feel
it's,
like this is why I keep bringing Mike on for episodes because he's my right hand man. We're just scaling what we're doing and sharing everything with you. Like, we are on the front lines. Our Miro, we are in it every day, constantly making tweaks,
yep.
constantly enhancing it, constantly getting feedback from our girls, constantly making moves. So you're getting two trainers on the front lines with setting and closing. Your success is inevitable if you have the commitment. That's the one
Yeah.
thing I
As
say to the
long as you
girls that I
commit,
get on calls.
because,
It, yeah.
yep,
And
we
that's
can't do it
that's
for you
literally what
technically, but we can show you.
yeah. Which is why it's like when you like book a call, you're like, okay, Rahaf, okay, I'm curious about Revenue Room. I want to figure this out. You get on a call with me. I'm not just gonna be like, oh yes, like you're in. Like, I want to see that you're committed
Yes.
because there's a reason why these women are winning in Revenue Room
Yes.
because they are committed. If you're not committed, that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to let you
It's
know,
okay.
but I only invite in committed energy because
Yes.
it's contagious.
Yeah. If you want to get buff, you got to do the workout, right? It's very simple.
You gotta go to the gym. You gotta believe in yourself
Exactly.
and put those reps in.
Exactly. If the trainer does all the work and gets buff and you sit there and watch, are you going to get buff too?
Exactly.
No.
That's so good.
Yeah. You got to, you got to do the workouts too. That's
Oh,
it.
so good.
But if you do, it works
So
every
good.
time.
Yep. All right. Well, you know how to find us. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to book that call and just see if it's a line fit. You literally have nothing to lose but make a decision right here that you want your life to change. And then just start following your intuition and just see where it takes you. So it's been so awesome having you on here again, Mike. Thank you for all of your wisdom and for taking the time to share your journey with us and how you've been able to get where you are and going from 9 to 5 to raging with setting and teaching
Yeah.
it and training it and looking forward to the next episode we have. Who knows where we're going to be in the biz and the next nugget that we're going to share.
Who knows? But it's probably going to be even better. So I'm looking forward to that whenever it may be. And thank you for having me and for giving me the space to share.
All right. Well, we will see you either in Revenue Room, but I will see you right here on the Really Raha podcast next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
If this episode resonated with you, if something clicked, stretched you, or made you see what's possible, share it and tag me on Instagram at Radiant Rahav so I can hype you up properly. And if you haven't already, subscribe and leave a 5-star review so more women who are ready to step into high-ticket sales and reclaim their freedom can find this space. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited for you already. See you next Tuesday.